Let's start by having a look at my green room and seeing who's my show tonight. First up, I'm excited he's here. He is the world's leading expert on survival. It is the indestructible Bear Grylls, ladies and gentlemen. Forget lager, forget cricket, forget Barbie. She is surely Australia's finest export to the world. You know who it is? It's Kylie Minogue. It's so great to have you back. Thank you for being here. Also on the show, he's a brilliantly gifted actor. You'll have seen him in so many fine films, from Boyhood to Dead Poets Society to Training Day. It is, of course, Ethan Hawke, ladies and gentlemen. Looking dapper. And she made the Olympics unmissable. She is, without question, I think, one of the greatest British broadcasters. It is Claire Balding. And not only all of those guests, we also have some spectacular music for you tonight from a recent Brit winner. He'll be performing his massive hit, Hold Back the River. It's the brilliant James Bay. What a show. Hello, James. Great to have you here. OK, so, before we get to that, let me say Happy Easter to everyone. By this time tomorrow, Britain will be awash with more chocolate than an Oompa Loompa's wellies. But let's not forget, of course, the true meaning of Easter, which is that millions around the world come together and pray that days after being crucified, JC could rise again. So... Obviously, I'm joking. Now, as I said, it is Easter, and the best thing about Easter is the joy of seeing the Easter bunny and all the eggs in your garden, of course. And what could be cuter than sitting in the Easter bunny's lap? It's one of those moments you'll treasure forever. Here we have some lucky children who've discovered just that. Here's some children meeting the Easter bunny for the first time. Loving that experience. When I say it's a moment to treasure, I mean traumatised, of course. Okay. And believe it or not, not all the bunnies are as cute as that. Look at this one here. That one... That's the stuff of nightmares, isn't it? And he's fallen asleep or he's died of myxomatosis, I'm not sure. You want a bunny with a smiling face, don't you? This is the kind of bunny you want. A nice, friendly smile. Maybe not quite that smiley. Let's go more traditional. Let's have a look at this one. This is the more... It's a child posing with what looks like Iggle Piggle's evil twin. And here, I'm coming up with my favourite. I think you're going to enjoy this one. Look at this. Wow. Was taken in 1974. Those kids didn't get a good night's sleep until 1988. Let's get my first guest out, shall we, ladies and gentlemen? Here's the thing. If I were to be stuck out in the wilderness with no food, no drink, no shelter, I know which guest on tonight's show I would want with me. Kylie. But if I wanted to survive, it has to be, of course, the go-to guide for living in the wild. It's Bear Grylls, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. Looking good. Looking smart in a suit. Come on out, sit down. Yeah. Well, you know, I think this is the first... I've never seen you all dressed up in a smart suit. Is this the first time you've dressed up on a show like this?
Yeah, it's not often I get a suit on, but in your honour.
Wow, you look great. But do you feel comfy in it, or... because you're...
No, not really, actually.
No.
But it's good to do occasionally. You've got to step out of your comfort pit every now and again. So for me, being in a suit...
We normally call it a zone, but a pit is fine.
Well, a pit's somewhere you've got to get out of as quickly as possible, which I think is...
Who was that aimed at? I'm just curious. No. So here's the thing, and this will surprise you. Bear turned 40 last year. There is no way...
Thanks a lot for hitting me with that straight off the bat.
Well, no one would think it. I'm saying you look
incredible. I call
incredible.
it 34 plus VAT. I am definitely... I still find it quite difficult. I'm in slight denial. Everyone's saying, are you going to have a big party? And I thought, actually what I'm going to do is wait till I'm 43... then have a party that I just call a big birthday party and hope everyone thinks, well, it's the 40th.
We'll make sure they all know you're lying. Now, the one series is just coming to an end on ITV, Mission Survive. And you had a bunch of celebrities. You had Mike Tindall, Kelly Holmes, you had Jamelia, a couple of kids from the Fox family, a big group of people went out, and it seemed to me you genuinely really put them in some tough situations. I mean, can you tell, do you think, when you see someone the first time you see them, do you think, OK, that guy or that girl's got what it takes, they're going to be good, or is there never any indication in the world outside of those survival situations that will give you the clue?
Well, it's difficult. You know, you can't look at somebody and know how they're going to cope under pressure. You know who the hero is in the movie. You know, they look like they're square-jawed muscles. But, you know, in real life, it's not like that. And until the squeeze goes on and the pressure goes on, you then see who the kind of people who can be resourceful and quick thinking under pressure and, you know, kind when they're beaten up and all these kind of things that really matter. So the answer is you can't tell, and that's the part of it that I love. I mean, I know that from taking you out. You know, a lot of the crew was going to... They said, wow, Jonathan, he's going to die. And day 2, he was like, you know, you were like a legend. You know?
You never said that, did they? Did they think I wouldn't be able to?
A little bit behind your back, but you showed him wrong, that's the point. Yeah. And big time. It's not that, it's like he... Guys, he was incredible, and that is my point of the story. I've taken a lot of people out into the wild, but you're the only man who's ever pulled out a pair of slippers and a silk dressing gown. Oh, brilliant.
Let me ask you about injuries then, because Mike Tyndall, I believe, hurt his head on Mission Survive. And there's always the chance it could go drastically wrong. And there was this terrible story recently, of course, I'm sure you're aware of, there was a French survival show of sorts called Dropped, I think, and they suffered a helicopter crash. 10 people died in the filming there. And that is something which is hard to justify in the pursuit of entertainment. Are you concerned about that? Is that something that you feel could happen on one of your shoots? And if it did happen, through a series of, you know, no doubt, tragic accidents, how would you deal with that? What would you do about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a tragedy, and, you know, it's a reminder, really, for me and the crew that we're like this all day, every day. We're racing around up and down mountains, shuttling around in helicopters, getting, you know, gear in and out, and it's a reminder you can never get complacent, and you know, I think that the weird dynamic is when we're just as a crew, you know, there's a great kind of bond there and a trust, but when you're bringing in outside people such as pilots, and I have seen it before where you work with pilots you haven't worked with before, there's a bit of kind of ego and bravado, they want to show what they can do. And, you know, I start off really simple, listen, you know, whatever you think is safe, we stay 20% aside, you know, the right side of that, and, you know, that was such a tragedy. I'm not saying they did anything wrong there, you know, sometimes just disasters happen, but you know, it is a core part of my job. I always say, you know, Shara, my wife, said this to me after that happened, and I also kind of feel, you know, you give up because of something like that, and then you get hit by a bus the next day, you know.
I guess the preparation is the key thing for you, and I know from having seen you work how thoroughly you prepare stuff and how much you prepare people for it.
Well, that is a big part of it, and people, you see the show, and it's all very fast and dynamic, and actually, you know, we'll send crews out there weeks ahead, really plan it well, you know, rehearse stuff with the pilots, so, you know, come D-Day, you know, we're on it. But the thing is, it's about never getting complacent.
So you've got another series starting, The Island, and this is starting on Wednesday on Channel 4, and this is members of the public. They're not celebs, so it's not the joy of seeing a fish out of water in that respect, but obviously these are also people who aren't doing this on a regular basis. You separated the men from the women into 2 separate groups here, didn't you? Why did you do that?
Well, the first season we did of The Island for Channel 4 was a study of modern masculinity. What's happened to modern man? Have we still got it, you know, once we've got rid of all the cushioning and sort of, you know, luxuries that modern man enjoys? And the next logical step was to run a women's island as well and show, you know, actually, you know, that women can do this adventure stuff just as well, if not better than the men. So we ran 2 parallel islands, 14 men, 14 women, 6 weeks. This time they were there in the rainy season, so it was brutal. They have literally nothing. They have 2-day survival training that we give them, a few knives, a few machetes, and that is it, and they film it all themselves. And, you know, so many people said to us, this will never work. You can't rely on people to, when they're tired and dehydrated and beaten out, they're just not going to film. But they did, and the story was actually really inspiring, you know.
Well, before we get to that, let's see at the beginning of the journey, and you'll see someone is complaining, and it does make me think, you know, what did she think she was signing on for? But have a look at this. This is at the very beginning.
It is going to be hard. It's going to be hard physically, it's going to be hard emotionally. And the thing to remember is positivity, positivity, positivity.
To get to the island, the women have no choice but to swim to the shore in the clothes they're wearing.
It's the thought of being all night, no dry clothes and no fire, because we have to make mistakes.
Don't think about it. Just one by one.
It's going to take
We'll just cuddle each other tonight.
Yeah.
Everyone's allowed the odd wind. Once we get you in the water, you'll be done with it. Yeah? Then it's all in front of you.
It's all uphill from here.
You'll be great. You'll be great.
There you go. The question is, so what was she expecting? Did she think you were going to carry her over and build her a tent? Like, she must have known that was coming.
You're right. Part of it is that everybody imagines, could they do it?
Yeah.
You know, if they're stripped of anything, can they do it? But, you know, you get out there and the reality of it, and they are just broken at the start. And it's the shock of capture, almost. It's like, you know, the wild hits them around the chops.
Suddenly
and
they-
how do you deal with it? And some crumble, and some, you know, the harder it gets and the more beaten up they get, that glint in their eye comes alive. And the show is seeing, you know, who thrives and who doesn't. But this season, definitely for me, I mean, did get to a point a couple of times where we genuinely, TV aside, almost had to step in and go, the whole thing's off. You know, you guys, we've got a duty of care to you guys to, you know, stay alive. So, and then something happened that changed it. So it was on a knife edge a lot, but they did it. And those that endured won my respect big time.
Wow. Let me ask you about home life a little bit. It's a fairly remote place you live on, isn't it? It's a fairly kind of quiet island that you're on up there. I mean, there it is. It looks pretty bleak.
Yeah, that's...
I mean, it looks like a jail, is what it looks like.
That's a harsh photo again. That was actually when we bought it. We're giving it a lick of paint now.
Oh, well, that would make all the difference in the world.
No electricity. It's got no mains electricity, no running water. That's a bad photo as well. Look, that one.
It's got no... Now it has electricity, doesn't it?
Well, this will keep people away. This is great. I love it. But it's a few miles offshore. It's a wild part of, beautiful part of Wales. We love it. You know, it still has no mains electricity or, you know, mains water. We collect rainwater off the roof. We have, you know, some solar panels and stuff for the evening.
You do know...
goes, can't we get a hairdryer? You know?
She hasn't got a hairdryer?
No.
What's wrong with you?
Go outside. It's blowing 40 knots.
You had a slide that went off into the sea. We have a picture of this, I think, and this looks about as dangerous as something could be. Did you actually used to go down that?
Yeah, we did get in a little bit of trouble for that because it didn't have permission, so we had to take it down. For the council said we had to take it. I'll tell you what, it was wicked fun, though. You do hear that. I actually built it with a little bit of a lip at the bottom that I thought would give you a bit of air as you go off it, but actually... What happened, and it's quite high, you know, it's a long old slide, and I thought I'll give it a field test, the first one out there. And instead of, you know, off the end, it's like, I thought it was going to be, and then, doing, splash. You know?
Wow.
So it is a bit of a bone shudderer, but it is pretty fun. I mean, we're going to put it back as a temporary structure.
If you're watching.
Within the curtilage of the back garden.
Now, we all like to think that we can handle ourselves in a tough situation, but in the city, for example, are there survival skills you could teach people? For example, self-defence. If I wanted you to teach me something, are there simple moves you could teach even someone who's admittedly in great shape, but maybe not expecting an attack? I mean, is there something you can do? Are there little tricks that you can teach people?
Yeah, a whole load of them. I spend my life teaching my boys this, yeah.
Could you teach me one now? Could we do one?
Now?
Yeah, let's do one.
OK.
OK. You want me to stand up?
OK, so come around here. Well, listen, first up in a fight is you don't want to get in a fight because it ain't like the movies, you know.
Yeah.
Most fights last about 3 seconds, a lot of systemic damage, and you're lucky either not to be dead because you smack your head on the pavement or, you know, life-changing injuries. So you've got to be smart.
Let's keep it light.
OK, so let's say... OK, well, let's do a knife attack.
OK, yes.
So what can you use as a knife?
Do we have something I could use as a knife? OK, that'll do. Oh, really? Is that as dangerous as I'm going to be? Although with a banana I could do you a lot of damage. So...
OK, so the first thing is, if you're going to stab to the stomach, OK, what you got to remember...
I'm not going for the stomach with this, pal, I tell you.
OK. OK, what you got to remember, you'll never win a defensive fight. So all this blocking and blocking and blocking and then attacking, it doesn't work like that. You can't be fast enough. So any attack that comes in, we want to turn it into an attack. So as it comes in, to a stab, we're blocking and hitting, OK? And we're hitting to the throat. We're going to the soft area. We don't want to be hitting the teeth. That's teeth in the knuckles, whole world of bad stuff. So either going there or we're going to the nose. And then I'm going to be putting you down. So if you go... So come here, give us a stab again.
We're doing this again?
Yeah, go for it.
I've already learned that move, I'm fine.
OK, well, this is the next part of the move. OK, so I want to keep you away, first of all.
Let's do it really slow, because I don't want my training to kick in. You know what I mean? So...
OK, do it. Here we go. So...
That's a bit fast. Let's do it really slow.
Come on, we've got to do it for real. OK, we're hitting. Left and right. Okay.
I got it. Yeah.
You still got the banana, though.
Yeah.
This is why the foot goes in the shoulder. That comes out.
I didn't still have the banana.
Yes, he did.
You can't put it back in my hand just so you can kick me in the shoulder. Let's take a break. After the break, here we come, Kylie Minogue, Ethan Hawke, James Bay, Claire Balding.
And then bow to your opponent.
Yeah, never mind all that. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get my next guest out. In an incredible career, not only has she had 33 top 10 UK singles, 7 of which have gone to #1, she's also sold, get this, 70 million records worldwide. You guessed it, it's Kylie Minogue.
I love it. That's
Kylie back. Have you met there, Fisher? Wow. Kylie, great to have you here. I'm loving the evening look going on. Very elegant, very sophisticated, very classy.
We look like we dressed for prom.
We
the
look
whole
like...
kind of lavender purple thing.
We should go out together, but you know what? Three's a crowd.
Three's apparently in now.
Is it really?
Apparently. What do I know?
So, Kylie, do you have any skills of the sort that Bear's been talking about? Do you have... Because in Australia, it's a pretty wild place, isn't it?
Yeah, just don't leave home in Australia. Even at home, you could still probably be killed by something.
Yeah.
No, so I need to come on your show and learn a thing or two.
Do you have much experience of the Australian bush?
What? How dare you?
How dare... I did not mean that. OK. So, Kylie, you've been in showbiz almost all your life. I mean, since you're a young kid onwards, you've always been in the spotlight.
Yeah.
You've always had a son. Do you see most areas of life, do you find showbiz in those areas? Do you find yourself making those comparisons all the time?
Well, weirdly, when I was ill and I was in the hospital quite a lot, one of the doctors and surgeons said to me, "Oh, we play your music when we're stitching up on other surgeries." It's like, what? I thought surgery was, you know, it's very somber and well, it is, but I guess when they reach the end of whatever that surgery is, and it's stitch-up time, the patient's okay, apparently they whack my music on. So it did strike me through that story and just through my experience being there that for the team, for the surgeons and everyone involved, it is a little bit like performance. You know, they must have the anxiety build-up and the adrenaline, and then you're on, and that's where your full focus is in your day. So, yeah, there are some parallels.
So it's 10 years ago that you were diagnosed with the cancer, and you went through that, and are you all clear now? Is it completely...
I'm good. I have yet to reach my 10-year mark, which I imagine I'll be having a bit of champagne and crying a lot and feeling very happy and joyful and thanking all my friends and family.
Oh, that's a lovely thing. That's a lovely thing. Well, your ways have last for you as well.
Thank you.
You know, I was thinking of it recently because I was reading an incredible story. Great courage to go through this but also talk about it so publicly. Angelina Jolie's been in the news a lot recently. It's something, obviously, which is just a sort of an enormous thing to face up to, being diagnosed with cancer, that sort of thing. Did you feel a kind of a kinship with her? Did you sort of understand what she was going through, do you think?
To a point. I mean, cancer has many forms. I guess, yeah, I can only say to a point I did because I don't really know her story. She doesn't really know my story, and I don't know whoever, you know, cancer's probably touched almost everyone in this audience in some way or another, and all the stories are different. But certainly in as much as she felt it was her duty to talk about it, which I never questioned. Not for a split second did I think of not saying what I had. Aside from the fact I was due on stage about 2 or 3 days later after that, so I had to have a bloody good reason. But yeah, it was maybe a way of making it real as well to me, to just say this is what it is.
It must seem so unreal when you first told it, I imagine.
It's quite difficult to talk about it in interview situations because it's deep and it's long and it's involved and it's hard to really say what it was in a neat kind of package. But yeah, it's pretty strange.
Well, I admire her tremendously, and I admire you for talking about it as well.
Thank
very
you.
much. Your family, I guess most of your family. I guess most of your family, I guess, from Australia. You have nephews over there.
Yeah, don't start me on my nephews. I'll bore you all night. I've got 3 amazing nephews. They're 4, 6, and 8. My sister moved back to Australia with her boy, and so whenever I go home, friends are like, "We hear you've been here for 2 weeks." I'm like, I haven't left the house. I'm just spending time with mum and dad and family.
And do they like the fact that you're their auntie? Do they like the fact that Kylie, the superstar's auntie, do they listen to any of your music? I bet the early stuff.
Yeah, they do, actually.
Have they heard your new music? Do they like the dancier stuff as well?
Well, James, who's 6, his favourite is Into the Blue right now.
So he likes the modern stuff.
Yeah.
OK, so the new material, which I'm loving, is the stuff, some of which you've collaborated with Giorgio Moroder.
Yeah.
On, and he's just so in awe of his talent. He was the guy who kind of invented electro dance music. Yeah. The early stuff with Donna Summer was incredible. Recently with Daft Punk, that was pretty incredible as well. Did he approach you? Is someone you'd always wanted to work with?
Yeah. Well, he approached me. He's got his album coming out, which has... I mean, he's not a vocalist, so he has different people who are on it, me included. So when they asked if I'd be interested, yes is the answer, of course. Let's just get the right song. And then he came on tour with me in Australia. So out he comes, and we get to play with him each night. It was amazing.
OK, so we're going to have a little look at the video now for Right Here, Right Now. This is Kylie's collaboration with Giorgio Moroder. It's out right now. Have a look at this. What a great track. It's a great dance track. So, there's going to be a big gig in the summer. You're performing at the Barclaycard Presents British Summertime Hyde Park. Yeah. 21st of June. Now, is this going to be... Look at that great lineup with Grace Jones, with Chic. I mean, that's a great lineup. Is this an elaborate thing? Do you do a big stage show? And if you do, are you worried that, like Madonna, you could come tumbling down?
Oh, I just did a gig in Dubai, and it was so humid that the stage, they just couldn't dry it. So there's always perils, nearly as many as when you go out, probably.
In the recent tour,
yes.
I believe that you sang a tribute to Michael Hutchence.
Oh, yeah.
You did Need You Tonight, which is a great INXS song. And, of course, you had a relationship with Michael back in the day. Was it strange for you doing that on stage to sort of revisit that period of your life?
Was it... I wouldn't say it was strange. I'd say it was beautiful and amazing. Every night, every night, we toured all of UK, Europe and Australia. And every night when that beat kicked in, I would shut my eyes and say... I know you're going to like this, because I knew he would. And we didn't change anything with the song. We didn't change the key or do anything different. It's such a good song. Just sing it. And he was like my guardian angel for that tour, definitely.
He kind of... Am I right in thinking, I don't want to simplify things, but I always got the feeling that he kind of introduced you to a slightly wilder life than you'd had previously. Would that be fair?
Yeah.
So that was a fun time.
It was a great time. Well, it was. I mean, it was all sorts of things. It wasn't just a great time. I was very, very sad when it finished. But yeah, he had an enormous impact on my life.
What was it like then? What kind of things would you do? What was a fun day out with Michael within the boundaries of legality?
There's no way I could tell you. Well, even when it was kind of... I mean, I used to say it was like I had blinkers on, and then the blinkers came off, because it was the right time in my life as well to kind of open up to the world and discover a lot of new things. But even when it was slightly on the wild side, he was always very tender with me. You know, I was a little precious thing to him. So amongst the kind of headiness, it was always very sweet.
I don't want to pry too much in your private life right now, but I know
What now, Jonathan?
Well, I find it hard to believe you're single again. You're single at the moment.
Yeah.
If you went on Tinder, it would burn. I mean, it would just...
I'm not on Tinder.
People's mobile phones would melt in there. But are you looking for someone? Are you in a period where you're not looking for someone?
Maybe I'm not looking anymore. I figure if someone's there, they can come and find me.
Someone would.
It's not that I don't have my eyes open. I meet a lot of incredible, charismatic, amazing, wonderful people. But, you know, with everyone to try and find the right person, it's just... It's not easy, is it, people?
There's a lot of people in the world and it takes a lot of luck.
Right.
It really does.
It does.
Okay. Kylie, how lovely to have you here. Thank you for coming on. And you are, you know, really, you're, whenever I hear you talk about the things you've been through, it's an inspiration. You're such an honest and, you know, really kind of tough character in the nicest possible way. So thank you for coming back on. And good luck. Kylie Minogue, the fabulous Kylie Minogue. Go and see her live this summer. Still to come on the show, Ethan Hawke, Claire Balding, and music from James Bay. So join me after the break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get my next guest out. From crufts to the Olympics to rambling, she can make any subject fabulously entertaining and exciting. She's one of the nation's favourite broadcasters. It is, of course, Claire Balding. You sound like way endless. Hey, Claire, you look great as well. You look very healthy.
Can I just, sorry, I know it's your show and everything, but Claire looks amazing.
Amazing, yeah.
You look amazing.
So what's your secret? What have you been doing?
The answer to your question is probably walking. I walk like crazy. Do you walk?
No. Yeah. I strut. I strut in high heels a lot, which is probably intensified walking.
But pair of trainers, walk for miles, it's great. Yeah.
Kylie has someone who walks for her. Well, because you do the rambling on the radio, of course.
I do, yeah.
We have the... I don't know if you listen to Radio 4. What's the show called?
Ramblings.
Oh, there you go. And it's Claire rambling with a different person in a different location. Sometimes a group of people. It's on Saturdays on Radio 4. And so is that where your love of walking came from, or were you already walking and that's...
No, I walked as a child because we had dogs, so you walk the dog. But I didn't realise that people walked without dogs. And I didn't realise people walked with maps. I didn't know that either. So I discovered... probably my geography of the United Kingdom was entirely based on where there were racecourses.
Yeah.
So if there was a county without a racecourse, I didn't know it existed. So loads of places I'd never been to. And then I started doing ramblings in 1999, and away I went. And I've walked, God, probably, I don't know, maybe 2,000 miles more than that since. That's not that far, actually.
It sounds like a lot.
Oh, it's not.
What about, let me ask you about, there are naked ramblers out there. Have you been rambling, because it's radio, we wouldn't know. Have you been rambling and chatting and not making the eye contact with a naked rambler?
No, I got a letter once, though, where we were walking and it started raining very heavily, and the person I was walking with actually wasn't very open and had just started to warm up as it started raining. So I'm looking at my producer going, to change. I need to put my waterproof trousers on. And she's going like this, no, don't. Keep recording because this is good. So we walk on through the rain. By that time, I'm drenched. So I go we're crossing a road and there's a little bus stop there, and I said, I'll just nip into the bus stop and I'll change my trousers, but I have to take them off because they're soaking wet, and then put on waterproof trousers. But I was mucking about and I was describing, like I was commentating on some sports event, taking off the trousers and putting on the waterproof trousers, and she's recording. And it stays in the programme. And then I got a letter from somebody saying it was the most erotic radio they'd ever...
How are you around nakedness generally? Because I imagine you're someone... because you kind of grew up with horses and I always imagine...
Grew up with horses, everybody's naked.
No, because you're mucking them out, you're hale and hearty.
You don't do that naked! No! Riding is fully clothed, fully clothed.
Bear, you do that, don't you? You love getting naked.
Yeah, I suppose sometimes you need a wash in the jungle river, yeah.
I'm
But
not
not on the
good.
bus stop.
No,
But I like that.
no.
That's good on you.
What? I don't.
Good on you, Claire.
Embrace it. Embrace it.
Yeah, keep stripping off.
Bad with nudity, really bad. Like, no, absolutely
Well, what do you
not.
mean you're really bad with it?
No, I just don't like. I don't know. No, group nudity, no.
What about if you're in a swimming pool or a changing room? Then you're okay with it?
No, I'm not really. I'm trying to get better because I want to, girls and women particularly, to feel fine about their bodies, and it doesn't matter what any of us look like, and just get on with it. Thank you. Yes. I think, I do think there's far too much attention on women and visual appearance. Men don't get judged so much. I mean, a little bit. You do a little bit, but most men don't get judged on their visual appearance and are stronger for it.
Yeah.
But women are all the time.
We haven't grown up feeling we have to look
Exactly.
a certain way, whereas most young women do feel that way.
Yeah.
Kylie, do you like getting nude? Look, Claire, I know you love talking about it, but can we move on from nudity?
I think we'll start this.
Can we move on?
Do not start this.
Mucking out your horses with nothing on. Let's move on. Now, on the personal life, congratulations on your civil partnership, on the wedding this year.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That is such a lovely thing. How was the day? How was the event?
Well, we converted. So,
you already
Alice
had-
gets cross with me when I say we upgraded, because she says it's not an upgrade, it's conversion. I think of it like being upgraded on the plane. It's very exciting, because now we're allowed.
So it was a civil partnership,
Yeah.
and it's now marriage.
So it was a civil partnership that we did in 2006, and then you go to the... We actually went to the same registry office, and they just backdate it to when you did your civil partnership.
Wow.
So officially now, we've been married since 2006. But
What a
obviously-
lovely thing.
Yeah.
Did you feel, was it for you an important thing to do?
Yeah. Again, it's about equality. And it's just about knowing that you can, and knowing that you can say, I'm married, and nobody's going to think that's married in inverted commas. No, that's actually married.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's great.
The level playing field.
Yes, indeed.
That's what we're looking for in every area of life.
We are, Jonathan.
Let me, yeah. No, I mean it. You know I do. Also, congratulations on Crufts. Because that is... No.
You make it sound like I won Best Bitch or something. Thanks.
The way you go through that tunnel over that little gap, you are remarkable. But no, you did a great job there. And it's odd because you don't think it's going to be an exciting show necessarily, but whenever I watch, I just get completely sucked into it. One thing I'd like to see at Crufts, but we don't see at Crufts, is now the big new thing is the kind of crossbreeds. Of course, and they don't have a category for that, I don't believe yet, do they?
No.
OK, because, we have all the different kinds of dogs. Well, not all of them. I mean, they don't put a wolfhound with a chihuahua, but within the realms of physical possibility, they're crossbreeding. So we thought it might be fun to see how much Claire actually knows about her dogs, or the world of dogs, by bringing some of the crossbreeds on and seeing if you can tell which animals you think have gone into making these
all
lovely...
dogs, I assume.
They're all dogs.
Yeah, so not which animals, which breeds.
Oh, yeah, OK.
Yeah.
There's not a monkey chihuahua
Yeah,
mix.
exactly.
Although if there was, I'd have one. OK, so, and all these dogs are used to being in a studio, so there's nothing we're going...
Are any of these your dogs?
None of these are my dogs. All my dogs are so badly behaved. OK, so, yeah, these are professionals. So this first one, this is Gunner, OK?
Hello, Gunner.
Here, look at Gunner. Gunner, I'm going to give Gunner to you, Bear.
Gunner's gorgeous.
Well, first of all, Claire, what do you think Gunner might be?
Well, Gunner's got a bit of Dachshund, definitely.
Yep.
Crossed with...
What do you think? What a beauty, though, isn't he?
Really lovely. Looking at the brindle, which is...
Yes, the brindle is the correct term for that kind of colouring.
Yeah,
You are
I
right.
know that, but
I know,
I'm thinking Dachshund with some kind of terrier.
You said Dachshund.
Yeah.
He is a mini Dachshund crossed with a lurcher.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. What do we call that? Is that a
Didn't get the
dirtcher?
legs,
I'm
then.
not sure we call that.
Didn't get the legs of the lurcher.
No. Which one is this? Pepsi. Look at Pepsi. I don't know whether I can't. I'm going to hand you Pepsi. Here you go, Kylie.
That's going to do...
Look at that.
It's be a disaster for your dress.
Look at
No, because Pepsi won't shed.
Look at Pepsi.
Really...
OK, so, Claire, what do you think Pepsi might be in? We're going to do this every week from now on. This is
Pepsi. Look at those eyelashes and those
What do you think,
eyes.
Pepsi?
I think a bit of something like Maltese for the really light fur or Bichon Frise, something really, because that's fur rather than hair, that won't shed.
She is.
And then maybe something, well, there's sort of retrievery about the eyes. Oh, look. Pepsi's made friends.
Well, we've all thought about doing that, obviously.
Pepsi wins.
Pepsi gets Pepsi for the win.
Pepsi wins.
Pepsi is a mini labradoodle.
A mini Labrador.
Mini poodle with presumably quite a small Labrador.
Said retriever,
I imagine.
didn't I? But
Well,
that's-
no, but
yeah,
you're in the
nearly,
right
nearly, I was
family.
in the right area.
Okay, this one's called Harpic, apparently. Okay, here's Harpic.
Oh, hello. Harvey.
Hello, Harpic.
Sorry?
Harpic. I know.
Okay.
Not the best name for a dog.
Okay. Gone.
What's going on?
He's gone.
Okay.
Hello, darling. All right. Now,
Okay,
don't you
there's-
have a go.
there's
at me.
Harpic. No,
Bit
no,
of,
they know each other.
They're all right.
What's
Bit
it
of
again?
Chihuahua, I'd say. Cross
It is a
with...
bit of Chihuahua, but
Yeah?
if you can get the other one, I'll be amazed.
Oh, I don't know. Schnauzer?
No.
I'm just guessing. I'm just chucking names out.
So,
Papillon?
Lazarapso.
Lazarapso.
That's the one.
Lazarapso with a Chihuahua.
What do we call that? Is that a Luawa? Chapso.
I don't know.
That'll do, Chapso.
Yeah.
We've got one more, I think. We've got one
Yeah.
more. Oh, I love this little fella. This one I'm going to hold on to. Okay. Now this... We've got Pepsi. This is Cola. Oh, what are you doing? What's going on? What's up? You okay? I know. I'm hard to resist. Okay.
Oh, gosh, look at that
Let me give
face.
little Cola over to...
I am...
A bit of pug, I'd say.
yes.
Cola is very sweet, but it's got breath from Hades. So...
Is it
He was
really?
fine till he kissed me.
I'd say that's pug crossed with... Oh, look.
I mean, Cola is ridiculously cute.
Yeah.
I know they have things called puggles. Pug with something else, with something small.
You said what did you say? You
I said a puggle.
Yes, it's
It's
a
a
puggle.
puggle.
You got it.
Oh.
Well, there you go. Let's give her. I think you are the dog expert you claim to be. What a beauty, eh? Okay. So I want to mention this because Claire has a new book out which deals with areas in your life, but also the walking show and other things. It's called Walking Home, Great British Adventures and Other Rambles.
And my dog's on the cover. My dog is on the cover. He'll be quite jealous right
That's
now.
Archie.
That's Archie.
There he is. Well, I loved your last
Breath is bad. You tried Pepsi.
Claire, we happen to know you drink your own piss. You cannot say that their breath is bad. Leave those poor dogs alone. All right, ladies and gentlemen, will you join me in saying thank you to all our fabulous dogs, but of course Claire Balding as well. After the break, Ethan Hawke will be here and we have music from the fabulous James Bay. So see you in a couple of minutes. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get my next guest out. He is, of course, the star of Boyhood, which cleaned up at the awards this year, and now he's back with an exciting new movie called Good Kill. It is Mr. Ethan Hawke. Good to have you. Sorry about the wait. Oh, that's it. Where are the dogs? You got there. I know.
Feels like so long.
Great to have you here, Ethan. So you're a dog lover. You're missing the fact we haven't got the dogs out here.
Yeah, I wanted to see those puppies, man. It's really cute.
OK, so, first of all, congratulations on Boyhood. I don't know how
Thank
many
you.
you saw it, but what an incredible achievement. A remarkable film. When you signed on for it, you knew it was going to take that length of time. That was always the plan.
Yeah, 12 years. You know, the whole American school system operates on a 12-year grid. It's the only part of your life that, you know, it's a little bit like a prison sentence.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that was the idea.
If we talk just about the surface, though, the changes that you all go through in that period, of course, you less so than the children, inevitably. But was it strange seeing yourself 12 years ago playing the same role, and then...
When the movie started, the first time we were watching it, I sat there and I thought, God, I still look great. You know? And then it kept going, I went, all right. Yeah, you know. I thought, I'm going to get a lot of work off this movie.
You look so much younger.
Yeah.
Well, you started pretty young. How old were you when you first appeared in your first movie?
14.
And that was the Explorers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, so you kind of, I guess, had some sympathy, some empathy with what the young man...
You know what my line was there? We come in peace, I would say, you know, but we have our own spaceship. It's pretty fun. No, but what were you asking?
Well, it must have been, when you worked with Ella on Boyhood, there must have been some sort of empathy with him knowing what he was going through, finding himself in that situation.
Very much so. Well, not to be sad or anything, but my co-star in The Explorers, you know, died of a heroin overdose.
This is River Phoenix.
At 23, yeah. So the idea that this is not actually dangerous, it is dangerous. I mean, you know, there's something very exciting and something very dangerous about celebrity and the way the culture chooses to celebrate people, and how isolating that can be, and how confusing that can be, and how beautiful it can be. You started young, you know how hard it is. It's a hard, and by hard, it's not like hard the way being out in the jungle is hard, but it's hard in a different psychological way.
Was it difficult for you when you were young, when you became well known?
It was easier for me because I've been incredibly fortunate with friendship. You know, I have family, brothers and sisters who never asked anything of me but to be fair and equal and treat me as a human being. And, you know, they called me out. And starting very young, I had good friends who were very serious people.
Before fame, you had the friends who you could...
You know, and there's not much for me before fame. You know, to be totally honest with you. So that's, no. But around the time of Dead Poets Society, when that movie came out, I met a lot of other young people that were good friends of mine, and who we got to go through the experience together, so it wasn't as isolating as it might have been for, you know, I always think about like Julia Roberts or something when Pretty Woman came out. How difficult that must be to be 1 minute you're like a waitress at a bar, and the next minute people are deifying you. It must be extremely confusing.
You were 18 when you made Dead Poets Society, weren't you? And of course that has the fabulous Robin Williams in, who also...
Did you ever have him on the show?
Several times. I was lucky enough to interview him a lot of times. Incredible man. But I never really saw the side of him that perhaps people who were close to him saw. I saw him as the entertainer who came out to... And he would knock the crowd dead every time he appeared.
Yeah, well, every high has a low, you know? I mean, that's... You can't... He wasn't an ordinary entertainer, you know? I mean, he was a comic genius. But for those of you, everybody knows people who seem blessed or seem different. And that always comes at a price.
I want to remind you of Robin's performance in Dead Poets Society, but more, I want to remind you of Ethan's performance, which was just a great piece of work. This is Dead Poets Society.
Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close them. Now, describe what you see.
I close my eyes.
Yes?
And this image floats beside me.
The sweaty-toothed madman.
The sweaty-toothed madman with a stare that pounds my brain.
Oh, that's excellent. Now, give him action. Make him do something.
His hands reach out and choke me.
That's wonderful, wonderful.
And all the time he's mumbling.
What's he mumbling?
Mumbling truth. Truth like a blanket that always leaves your feet cold.
Forget them. Stay with the blanket. Tell me about that blanket.
You push it, stretch it, it'll never be enough. You kick at it, beat it, it'll never cover any of us. From the moment we enter crying to the moment we leave dying, it'll just cover your face as you wail and cry and scream.
A great moment and a great film. Wow. OK, so that's Ethan when he's 18. Now, his new movie, he's, of course, a couple of years older now.
Just a few.
Just a few. But the film is out Friday, and it's a very gripping film, I thought. It's called Good Kill. Tell me what attracted you to the character, to the story.
Well, you know, you mentioned Boyhood, but every actor is... We're only as good as our opportunity, you know? And I was really looking... We're always looking for stories that feel new and that are relevant to our time. And this is a portrait of a soldier who's in a totally new circumstance. He's fighting the Taliban from 9 to 5, you know? He's living at home, and he goes to Winnebago, and he goes online, and he's making mortal decisions and killing people in defense of his country.
So he's a pilot of the drones that they did and continue to employ, I believe, in the conflict.
They're doing it as we speak right now. And then, unlike most soldiers, who goes back to the barracks or whatever, he goes home and picks his son up from school. And it is requiring a level of compartmentalization that is near, you know, schizophrenia in a way. You know, I mean, it's an interesting portrait of a person.
Well, I'm going to show you a clip now, and you'll see it's a very gripping thriller as well. It's quite intense as well. And we end it before it gets too kind of difficult to watch, but I think you'll enjoy seeing the themes that are explored in the film from this moment. This is Good Kill.
Weapons hot.
Rifle when ready.
3, 2, 1. Rifle. Missiles off the rail.
God damn it, what's that?
Shit.
Time of flight.
7 seconds.
Abort?
Negative. Impact 3 seconds.
Run, you little shits. Get the fuck... I really feel a little bad. I come out here and change. You guys had puppies out here before.
Yeah.
I come out, I talk about, you know. I know.
I don't want to put the puppies near you after that. Look, great to have you here. Congratulations again on Boyhood and on Good Kill, which I think is a very important and gripping dramatic piece of work. It's out this Friday, so go and see it if you like a grown-up movie about a sophisticated theme. Lovely having the show. Mr. Ethan Hawke, ladies and gentlemen. Ethan, that was great. Thank you so much. Thanks to all my guests tonight. This is the last show in the series, but we'll be back here in October. But now, to end this series, some great music for you with Hold Back the River from the #1 album, Chaos and the Calm. It is James Bay.
To me, one life got in between. Try to square, not be in there, but it's there that I should have been. Hold back the river, let me look in your eyes. Hold back the river so wide. And stop for a minute and see where you hide. Hold back the river, hold back. Out for a different life. We rode our bikes into the sky. But now we're caught against the tide. Those distant days are flashing by. Hold back the river, let me look in your eyes. Hold back the river so high. And stop for a minute and be by your side. Hold back the river, hold back. Hold back the river, let me look in your eyes. Hold back the river so high. And stop for a minute and see where you are. Hold back the river, hold back. Lonely water, lonely water, won't you let us wander? Let us hold each other. Hold back the river, let me look in your eyes. Hold back the river so high. Stop for a minute and be by your side. Hold back the river, hold back. Hold back the river, let me look in your eyes. Hold back the river so high. Stop for a minute and be by your side. Hold back the river, oh. Lonely water, lonely water, won't you let us wander? Let us hold each other. Lonely water, lonely water, won't you let us wander? Let us hold each other.
James Bay, ladies and gentlemen.
And keep it STV for the latest weekend news. That's in just a few seconds. And at 10 to 11, a prep school student agrees to look after a blind man, but the job is not what he anticipated it to be in our movie Scent of a Woman.